You know, in the Grateful Dead's classic song Truckin', they said, "What a long, strange trip it's been." And that line has went through my head a lot this year, and I'm someone who has been on some pretty strange trips, I'm just saying. But in all of the long, strange trips I've been on, I never dreamed in my lifetime that I would ever look over and see Marjorie Taylor Greene saying something that I agreed with. And that's happened several times here lately. When I see her on The View, I say, wait a minute, am I tripping? When I see her sitting down with Bill Maher, I say, wait a minute, am I tripping? And when I see her say things like, she would praise Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy Pelosi did a good job, and she's doing this really nice act, and she's saying that she's been duped by conspiracy theories, and she doesn't believe in them anymore, and that she's been played, and that the media has, made her the bad guy, and she's not doing her normal bully shtick. Well, that definitely makes me say to myself, wait a minute, hold on, I'm tripping. It's been a long, strange trip if you catch yourself saying, I'm agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. But through all of this, I keep saying in the back of my mind, wait a minute, this is still Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she still helped pave the way for so much of what we got going on now. And where is she going to land once it's all over? Is she going to be on our side on other issues? Or is this just her way of rebranding and saving her political career? So Jasmine Crockett brought out a really good point on CNN. I want to play that clip, and then we need to talk more about this one.
Your reaction? Yeah, hell may have frozen over because we are agreeing more than we're not. But I will tell you that while there is a new Marjorie, as some people have said, I do want to give people an opportunity to do their research. And the reality is that the big ugly bill, it only passed with one vote. And if one more Republican would have defected, which we had maybe two Republicans that defected, if we would have just had one more, then we would not be talking about higher insurance premiums. Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for this. Point blank period. Her constituents were the ones that were on the receiving end of this. In fact, I'm sure that we can find tape in committee of me going down and talking about how many people in their Republican districts were going to lose health care, how many children were going to lose health care because of that bill. Now, maybe she didn't care about those on Medicaid and Medicare, and Democrats spent a lot of time talking about the fact that 15 to 17 million were going to lose their health care, but they didn't fully understand, I guess, that when you remove $1 trillion from the health care ecosystem, everybody else has to pay in. Also, that the top 1%ers can keep more money in their pockets at the same time that we've not raised the minimum wage. We're seeing record-breaking profits from those at the top. We know that there are talks about Elon becoming the first trillionaire that we've ever seen in the world. So you tell me if I am feeling so sad for Marjorie or buying into this because I don't understand why she didn't do the right thing when she had a chance. So there's two issues that we have going on. The big ugly bill is what caused our insurance premiums to go up. But in addition to that, Republicans have decided to kick people while they're down. So if you are on the marketplace, if that's where you get your health care, then that tax subsidy is set to expire at the same time that they made the tax cuts permanent for those at the top, and they have decided they don't want to talk about giving them subsidies. So while your insurance may go from, say, $200 up, if you are on the marketplace, you are going to get, say, $250 credit a month. Now they're saying they also want to take that.
I really think that when people like Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for the big, beautiful bill, they didn't realize just how much that their base was going to kick against it once they realized what was actually going on. So if you stop and think about it, just one vote's all we needed. Marjorie Taylor Greene could have been the one that did the right thing then, but she didn't. Now her base is not happy with it, and she's out here singing a different tune. But more so than anything, it's one thing for her to see like the error of, okay, I should have voted, against that or whatever the case may be. But what's really weird to me is just the complete about face she's done, and she's went from being one of the biggest bullies we've ever seen. I mean, she was a pit bull. No one can argue with that. I don't even think she could argue with the fact that she just went at people full throttle. She didn't back down from nothing, and now she's sitting there with The View being nice about it. She's praising Nancy Pelosi. Could it be that she heard her base and realized, oh shit, what a mistake I made? But you got to sit and say to yourself, when she thought it was convenient, when she thought it would work to her advantage, she voted for it, and that's a good part of the reason why that we're in the mess we're in today. That's the problem when you're playing politics like this. It's easy to look over and see someone saying something and you go, yeah, boy, I agree with you. But when did they agree with you? At what point did they agree with you? Were they trying to save their own ass when they did agree with you? And what are they going to say later? Now, I've said before, and I mean it when I say it, I do believe that you need to take wins when you can get them, and you need to use voices to your advantage when you have them. Folks, I'm really excited to be talking to you today about True Classic, because my friends and family will tell you that one of my biggest pet peeves about buying clothes is when you buy a shirt or a pair of pants and then it takes forever before it feels comfortable. I hate that period where you're trying to break things in. I want something where when I put it on, it feels like that I've wore it forever, but at the same time, it feels brand new. So I'm really excited today to be telling you about the folks over at True Classic. The guys at True Classic started with a simple mission to bring premium, comfortable clothing to the masses, because looking and feeling great shouldn't come with a designer price tag. And people clearly agree. People vote with their dollars. And True Classic has sold over 25 million shirts to more than 5 million customers and racking up over 200,000 five-star reviews. This brand isn't just about fabric or fit. It's about helping guys show up every day with confidence and purpose. Their shirts fit where they should, they feel incredible, and they won't break your bank. You get that tailored look without sacrificing comfort or blowing your budget. Now, folks, I'm not necessarily the kind of guy that sits around talking to his friends about where to go buy clothes, but when I discovered True Classic, I was telling all of my friends, you have got to try this on for yourself, because when you do, it will feel like you've worn this shirt forever, and it will feel like you went to a shop and had it tailor-made. There's no stiff fabric, and you're not constantly trying to pull and adjust and make sure that it fits. It feels this way the minute you put it on. So forget overpriced designer brands. Skip the cheap throwaway stuff. True Classic is built for comfort, built to last, and built to give back. You can find them on Amazon, Target, Costco, Sam's Club, or you can head to trueclassic.com/Brando to try them out for yourself. So I'm not saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene's base is ever going to turn around and vote on our side, or that they're going to come around to our way of thinking on every issue. But if Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying the same thing we're saying to her base, I want them to hear that. And so I'll take it. I'll take it coming from her, because let's face it, they're not going to listen to me. They consider me a traitor in these parts. People that I grew up with right around here, that I grew up with, that I struggled with, that I lived alongside of, went to school wearing the same raggedy clothes as they had on, they look at me like that I somehow sold out and I'm a traitor, and they'll never listen to a word I have to say about it, because they think I just hate Trump, which I do, but they think that's the only reason why I'm sitting here in this chair. So I will take it if Marjorie Taylor Greene will say that to them and get that idea in their head. Where I think we pick up and go from there is we always need to be there to show them that, hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't have your best interest at heart when it counted. And she's not going to have your best interest at heart again later. She's always going to be going to bat for herself and thinking, how can I get out of this? I'll give her credit for being a savvy enough politician to look ahead and go, wait a minute, this ain't working. This MAGA brand is not going to last forever. I'm going to try to rebrand before the ship goes down. And I think that's what she really was doing here. But this is one of those things where we can't get too excited about this and think, oh boy, we've got someone on our side now that's going to go to bat for us, because would you honestly trust her if there was a vote tomorrow? I mean, would you honestly trust her if it was really down to the wire and you had to count on Marge to be on your side? Would you? I don't think she'd trust us either, so I think it goes both ways. But this new reborn or rebranded or whatever the hell, I've seen the light, or I'm on a long strange trip, whatever it's been, maybe, I don't know, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene's on a long strange trip, I don't know. But whatever the case may be, that has caused her to do this turnaround. I mean, I would much rather see her be this version. I think the old version was just so bad for American politics. I think that style of just being a heartless bully, and you got to think too, the one thing I can never give her a pass for and I can never forget is the way she walked along behind children who had survived school shootings, and she taunted them. And I've said before, man, she was a taunting type politician. She's like ravishing Rick Rude. I mean, wearing Rick Rude used to come out on WWE with his opponent's wife's face spray painted on his crotch, and he'd swivel his hips. You go back and look at the State of the Union addresses. We can't forget those. How many times did she heckle Joe Biden? How many times did it look like she was going to a WWE event? When that MAGA movement was really moving and she could cash in on it, she rode that wave. And she sees it sinking, and now she's singing a different tune. So I don't think any of us could ever fully trust her. I want to see her continue to say the things she's saying. I want her to say it to her constituents. I want them to hear it because they won't listen to us saying it. They wouldn't listen to Jasmine Crockett saying it. So I do want them to hear her say that. But again, I want us to always follow up with, oh, did you hear what Marge said? Well, when Marge had the chance to vote, she didn't. She had a chance to stop all this, and she didn't. And as they go forward, we can always go back and remind them, hey, that time that Marge was doing that act, and we all thought, wow, she's turned around. Look how she voted this time. I just go back to something my uncle taught me back when I was a kid, and it's stuck with me for the rest of my life. I've told this story on the channel before, but back in the day, we had a guy here in Tennessee, Lamar Alexander, and they've even named highways after him. And there was a time where he walked across Tennessee in a flannel shirt and a pair of jeans, talking about values and the working class and talking about morals and talking about, just doing your classic Republican shtick. And I remember telling my uncle about it. And I was like, because both my grandfathers were Republicans. So I was thinking, hey, this guy seems pretty decent. He seems like one of us. We wear flannels and blue jeans, and that seems like our kind of guy. So I go to my uncle and I'm like, hey, did you see this guy, Lamar Alexander? Now, I know he's a Republican. My uncle's a Democrat. I'm like, I know he's a Republican, but hey, he's saying a lot of good stuff, and he's walking across Tennessee in a flannel shirt. And my uncle said, you do realize the only time he puts on that flannel shirt's for those commercials, right? He said, let me show you his voting record. Let me show you what he voted to do to people here in East Tennessee. And then I looked at it and went, holy damn, wow. I had no idea. He said, yeah, that's all an act. He's playing politics. He's playing the game. So that goes through my head to this day when I see someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene suddenly doing an about face. I'm like, wait a minute. How long is that going to last? And can we count on you when it really comes time to count on you? I do believe that's the question we need to ask. So, again, I'm glad to see this more, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but I'm glad to see this more reasonable version at the moment of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I just really hope that it sticks, and I really hope that we can count on her the next time we need a vote.